Okay, this little thing about number line actually talks about using decimals with number lines. Decimals and number lines. Okay, and it can be confusing for some people. What you have to remember here is that when we talk about decimal numbers, let's say I'm talking about either 0.8 or maybe 0.12. Okay, if you were to read these numbers for me in mathematically, and I don't mean just say 0.8, how would you say that number? Josh, the first one there is?
8/10.
8/10. Okay, this is 8/10. And this other one is, Kyle?
12/100.
12/100. Okay, so if I was going to show the first one on the number line, okay, I'm starting with 0 and I'm going to put a 1 over here. How would I show 8/10 on a number line? How many pieces would I have to split this 0 and 1 into? Now look at the bottom of your fraction. What is that bottom number there, Caroline?
10.
10. So I would have to split 0 and 1 into 10 equal pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 8/10 would be right here, correct? That's 0.8. Okay? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the only way that you can show decimals on a number line. A number line has to be split into 10 pieces in order for you to use a decimal to show it. In other words, this, and I'll show you where people kind of go wrong. If I had this number here, I have a 0 here and a 1 here, and I have 1, 2, 3, and I put a decimal point right here. No, sorry, I'm going to change that. I put a decimal point, or I put a point right there, it's not a decimal, and I asked you to give me the decimal for that, okay? Because this is not split into tenths, you just can't say that you can't say that that's 0.1. Because that spot there is not 1/10 of the way over there. Okay? So number lines only work for decimal numbers when they're split into tenths. Now there's ways that you can do that. Okay, you can do it, but they're not going to ask you to do this. You know, how many pieces did I split this into? 5. Well, if I wanted it in tenths, then all I'd have to do is split each one in half, right? Because then it would be in tenths. Now what decimal is that? How many is it? It's 2/10 over. But they're not going to ask you to do that. But I just want you to get to the point. The only way to show 8/10 a decimal on a number line is if those units are all cut into 10 equal pieces. Same thing for this. If I asked you to show 0.12 on a number line, first of all, how do you say that? It's 12/100. How many pieces would your number line have to be cut into? You would have to have 100 different spaces between whatever to show that, because that's what this fraction is. But you can reduce it and probably do something with it, but okay. So number lines, in order to be shown as decimals, have to be split into either tenths or hundredths, because that's all decimals are good for. Okay. There are other ways to go around it, but that's the basic gist of what they're showing there. For example, what about this one? Let's say this is 7 and this is 8, and I split this into this many pieces, and I ask you to give me the decimal for that. Now you might just say, well, I can't, and maybe you can't. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. You can't say this is not 0.3. Okay, it is not 3/10 of the way over there. Okay, I suppose right now the only way for you to show it would be, what fraction of this line is this? No. How many pieces is it? How many over is it?
3/4.
It's 3/4. Now you might know the decimal for 3/4. You probably do. What is it?
75.
Yeah, it's 0.75. That's what decimal this stands for. Okay, but you can't just look at this line and go, oh, that's 3 units over, so it's 0.3. It doesn't work that way unless it's split into tenths. So the first thing you have to do is look and make sure your line's split into tenths, and then you can do it. Here, let me stop this.